Hey, it's Robert Lee here, the executive producer and owner of ShaLaLaLa Productions, and I thought I'd give a special holiday a vlog thoughts, tips, advice in terms of the best use of videos. Now I know that there's a lot of talk of videos that you need your video, you need a video for your website, you need it for your business, but the important thing is not so much that you need it, but how well it ties in to your objectives, what your purpose and what your goal is, specifically what message you're trying to get out to your audience. So you need to keep that in mind in creating the video in terms of the best way to put forth your message. Now, in using the video, it's a powerful medium just because it's the best way, if you pardon the description because it's a little bit weird, best way to replicate an actual discussion with a person, just because the more intimate, the more one-on-one type of the discussion that you have in terms of how you present the material, the more I think it lends to how authentic your message is, regardless of whether you're selling a product or service or giving advice and such, just for the fact that people will respond just because not only they can uh, hear you, they can see you, and but again, it really boils down to the message you're providing to help you guide you as to the best way to help you sharpen up that message and how, in a way, help you determine the best way to distribute it. Just a key tip that if you're gonna put it on a social media, it's important that you keep your message short, just because, especially like on Facebook or even like Instagram, if you lose them in the first 5 seconds, they're just gonna pass by you. So it's better to have that message ready up front, that first 5 seconds, so that way they hear and know what you're trying to talk about, and then get into your message. I think it's more that within your website, there's a lot more room for creativity in terms of how you present the message as well as the length. Specifically, if you're going to give like a demonstration, whether it's a product or if you're going to be a little bit more elaborate in terms of describing the service, that I think that there when the audience is there, they should have a pretty good idea of who you are or what you're about based on either information they may have heard about your business and hear what you have to say on the website. Now, if you generate a lot more audience that's a little bit more diverse that may not be familiar with, you may want to consider taking the videos that maybe in the long form and breaking up into, like they say, bite-sized chunks. You could just gear towards how you break it up in terms of specific messaging, whether it's a specific point um, or, or or a specific attribute that you want to highlight in those little chunks. So again, that's something that you can talk with your colleagues, whether it's your marketing department or your managers, as to like how well to boil it down to those bite-sized chunks, as well as having it in a long form as well. So, but yeah, I mean, the key takeaways to think about is just that, one, make sure you know your message, and that's going to help you drive you in terms of how best to distribute that video in the different mediums, whether it's social media or if it's on your website, as to how well you present it. And just remember that in what you say and how you say it, it's all on you. It's just as what you're just presenting. And when I say it's all on you, just make sure that just to make sure that the more if you pardon the expression, more keeping it real as to what you're trying to say, it's going to be a lot more authentic, especially if it's going to be a point uh, or a thought that you're trying to present within your video, just because it's going to show you the best way, put you in the best way, put yourself in the best way possible in terms of the thoughtful information you give in terms of advice or service of what you do, as well as it's coming um, from here, just because it's just showing your expertise. So those were some of the thoughts I thought I'd share with you, and I'm just trying a little bit different, just because I'm using my webcam here, just because that it's just a matter of just being able to provide my thoughts right away, and this is an example of how you can use different tools to present yourself, um, and 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 one where if it's one where you have like other ways to be able to get the message out there. So, and I'm doing this unplugged just to show an example of how how different it is in terms of presenting the message, where other videos where if it's shot professionally, it'd be a lot more, um, I guess you could say polished, just in terms of how it's presented, just because you can edit it and put together, where something like this, because it's real time and you're just presenting yourself, where anything could happen, just like now, like how the cell phone can go off. So, sorry if I'm going off on a tangent there, but those are my thoughts. And if you have any questions, or if you wanted to pick my brain in terms of about this subject, about how to keep the message real, or just being aware of the different challenges, feel free to give me a call at 617-359-8584, or email me at robertl@shalalalaproductions.com. So that's all, and look forward to hearing from you soon. And again, have a happy holiday and Happy New Year.